Alright, hello, and today, welcome to the second part of Poetry, the Spoken Word. Today we're going to be talking about how to analyze a poem. We've talked about elements of poetry and what makes a poem, but today we're going to be talking about how to analyze it. How do we understand a poem? Alright? And so for the purpose of this slide, or for the purpose of this assignment, we're going to be going through a slideshow. It's going to give us a little bit more about the steps. Okay? It says the knowledge. It says the steps of poetry. That's what we're going to go through. How to use it and what the internet. And then the terms. Alright? First, we're talking about paraphrasing. When we talk about understanding a poem, sometimes we may have to read it more than one time. Okay? Paraphrasing means to put in our own words. So we want to take that poem, we want to read it, we want to digest it. What is it actually saying? What is the poem or the poet actually trying to tell us? What does the title say? How is it laid out? And so all of those things we want to paraphrase, putting it in our own words. Okay? Because if we can put it in our own words, then it's probably, we can definitely probably understand it. Okay? The next step is to discover the subject. What is the subject of the poem? For instance, if a poem is about sports, which is one of my favorites, then I can understand it a little bit more and digest it in the topic of the poem. Alright, step 3, discover the speaker. Well, what is the author trying to say? The voice of the poem. What is he attempting to tell us through about himself or herself about the topic? And then the last step, the main idea, the theme. The theme being, of course, the lesson. Is there a lesson that the author is trying to teach through the poem? Some inspirational poems, the point is just that, to inspire us. We have poems that are nature-based. We have poems that are sports-related. So if we understand the main idea, that umbrella, that topic, then it's likely that we'll understand the poem as well. And then the literary techniques. Okay? So let's look at step 1 is paraphrasing. We ask ourselves, what are they talking about? We put it in our own words. Explain the poem in our own words. 2, discover the subject. What is that subject? What is the poem about? We want to find out what the poem means. Okay? What is it trying to say? And again, you may have to read the poem more than one time, especially those that are free verse. Free verse poems, a lot of times, if it doesn't have a rhythm, I know sometimes I have to read it more than one time. And so you'll have to do that to ask yourself, well, what is that poem about? Step 3, discover the speaker. Who is the speaker? Who is he talking through? Doesn't exactly mean the poet all the time, but what is he talking through? Is the character of the poem somebody who is sports related? Is somebody who is that character even nature outside? Who is the poem actually talking about? So I look at the speaker's interests, ideas, and their feelings. The idea, the main idea or the message of the literary work, the poem that we're reading. What is that overall idea that they're trying to find out what the poem is about? And again, list literary techniques from the poet. And so those are some of the steps that we're going to use as we look through our poems. Now these terms are the ones that we've gone through in step 1, the PowerPoint, where we went through literary terms, figurative language, and those things. So we've gone through those. We're not going to spend time on that, though I will attach this to my course so that you can go through the terms yourself. Okay? So let's look at a poem and see. Alright? The poem. The best is a sister's love. So we're going to look at this poem and see if we can identify. One, the title tells us. The title is very explicit as to what generally a poem is about. Very seldom are we reading a poem's title and not understanding at least the main idea of it, what it's about. Alright? So in the world of the nicest things, the best is a sister's love and all the joy it brings. So because it has a rhyme to it, I have a rhythm. Okay? The rhythm of the poem. It helps me to understand what we're talking about. A sister's love just touches you deep inside. It is a special bond you simply cannot hide. Again, rhyme scheme. A sister's love will end your tears and sorrow, comfort you and encourage you to bring you brighter tomorrows. All right? What are we asking ourselves? So we're going to go back and ask ourselves how we analyze this. A sister's love will even be there in bad health. She will do much more for you than you can do for yourself. A sister's love will never be preoccupied because no matter what happens, she will always be by your side. A sister's love is a gift so sweet and rare, and she will be the only friend to always be there. A sister's love is like an angel placed here just for you. You will always be amazed at the sweet things she will do. A sister's love will be there even when we disagree. That I think they are my angels on earth, but they think it is me. So we're looking at this and we can totally identify what an author is talking about, or the poet. So let's look at back at our PowerPoint and see how we can go through it. Analyzing that poem. Step 1, paraphrasing. Well, what was it talking about? It was talking about a person who feels that the sister is a very special person to them. Okay? And there's some attributes to a sister's love that we can go back and look at the poem, the poem itself. The subject, what was it talking about? It was talking about a sister's love. What a sister is to this person. Okay? The speaker, well, who was the speaker? Who are we talking about in there? Either the character can be the sister, or we can talk about the speaker and how they feel about the sister. All right? And last, the main idea or theme. Well, first off, is there a lesson that we can learn from that? We can talk about what a sister is. Okay, if we're talking about two people who might be at each other all of the time, that would be a great one to give to them, to just identify and go back and identify what that sister is and what a sister really is to a person. And of course, the main idea being the love a sister gives, the attributes or the things a sister does or sisters do for one another. And it doesn't have to be two sisters, of course. All right? And the techniques, we can go back and we can look at the rhyme scheme, we can look at the poem itself, how was it laid out, the stanzas, all right? And that's just one example. But I'm going to attach this to your poem, and your job from this point is going to be looking at this particular PowerPoint, using the steps to the PowerPoint, and connecting it to your next assignment, which will be actually analyzing the poem. Okay? So you're going to be going through these steps as you analyze the poem. All right? I look forward to your responses. Have a good time. If you need to get back with me, please make sure to connect it to the discussions, and I will be more than happy to help you. All right? Okay.